What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another reaction with your host, the ignorant, eclectic, mad genius, and we got some more updates on the Nolan Wells case. I guess the title of this is Nolan Wells' mom exposes how his friends are lying to everyone.
Finally responded
Oh, hit that like, hit that sub, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we about to get into some news, baby. Shout out to Flacco.
back to Nolan Wall's quote unquote friends or fake friends, as some of y'all would like to call them. And all these interviews they've been doing, they've been out their body during these interviews, bruh. Right? They've been as disrespectful as you can be to grieving parents. Now, in the parents' response to these boys, they exposed them, exposed a couple of lies they were told as well. Now, these boys, in my opinion, have been really, really, really disrespectful. And if the parents would have went a little harder in their response, I wouldn't have had a problem with it either. One of these boys stated that when Nolan Wall's mama posted a photo, a picture of Nolan Walls with them that they took on the island, that was her pushing racism. Mind you, the mother posted that picture when Nolan went missing. She was posting the pictures to show people what Nolan was wearing, so hopefully if anybody could find Nolan or see Nolan, could let her know. They painted that as a bad faith action. They painted that as her race hustling or race baiting, right? And they said that out like outside of their mouth. Like, and to me, that's just insane. Like that, they've been painting the mama as if she's like a villain in a situation when that's far from the truth. Right? That's far from the truth. This is a grieving mother who has done nothing, but I'll be real, have been more than fair to these boys.
Way more.
The mom came out and said, "Hey, I'm not saying the boys did anything wrong. I'm just saying I want answers." Right?
Her
but
and the father.
This is the first time where she truly defended herself and defended her family, and this was long due.
Boat returns, Nolan is not there. At 11 p.m., he calls to say Nolan is missing. I wonder if either of you, whoever wants to answer, what happened in those few hours that prompted Warren to be concerned?
I'm not quite sure what would prompt him to be concerned, but all I can say is what I did that day. So me and my sister, we made an order of pancit, which is a Filipino noodle dish for one of our friends. They were having a big family get-together, and we really didn't have anything planned for the 4th. So me and my sister are, cleaning up, and this is about 8. And she's like, hey, Nolan hasn't texted us. And that was the thing. Nolan was really big with communication with us, right? And so I call him, doesn't answer. I end the call. Call back, and this is probably, I think, maybe around 8. Don't quote me on the times, guys. So then I call again later around 8, still no answer.
Don't forget, they still had Nolan's phone at this point. Now, the mama didn't say, hey, I called, it went straight to voicemail, or hey, I called and the phone is dead. Because if she would have called once and it went straight to voicemail, then she wouldn't have called a second time. So obviously this phone was ringing. And this phone was in the boy's possession. So if the phone is ringing and it's in your possession, why you didn't pick up?
Exactly.
And the reason why that's important to me was because I think Warren told the story of, they was chilling at one of the friends' house. He went upstairs to talk to the friend's dad. And when he came downstairs, they were just conveniently having a conversation about Nolan. So that sparked him to say, wait, hold on, where is Nolan? So then he called the Coast Guard and he called the mama. Now, I always thought that story was unusual. Now, I have no proof that story is not true, so I can't say it's not true. I'm just saying that story just seems a little bit too unusual and perfect for me. Now, an alternative that would make sense is the mom is blowing up Nolan's phone. They are in possession of the phone. So they finally said, damn, okay, let's call Nolan, all right? right. Let's call Nolan's mom before they get too worried here. Right now, that would make more sense, right? Like they realized, we got Nolan's phone. The phone keep ringing. Let's call his mom back. But that other story of apparently, like he walked downstairs. I'm not buying that at all. But again, I'm just not buying it. I'm not making no accusations here before they try to sue. I'm not buying it.
So then I call again later around 8, still no answer. And then I want to say I called one more time. And I think that was at like 10:48. So I'm in the kitchen, my phone rings. Now this is probably like early 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. Phone rings when I make it back to the phone and I'm like, whose number is this? Because, we get weird phone calls sometimes. They didn't leave a message. Number pops back up. I pick up the phone because it says maybe Warren. And I'm like, Warren? So this is 11:07. That's per my cell phone records. So I answered the phone. He's like, hey, Miss Christine, have you seen or talked to Nolan? I said, no. Why? He should be with you guys. And he said, oh, no, well, you know, when we went to the island, there was a girl named Katie that he met, and he had decided to stay behind. And I said, what? Because we know our child. And Nolan isn't one to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind, and I'm going to stay here with this girl that I just met. So I'm on the phone with him. Now I'm in a panic. I'm running into my room. Elmore was in bed watching a different movie, and I'm like frantic. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Nolan is missing. I'm trying to pull up the GPS as I'm talking to him. And at some point, he tells me that, I was like, well, you know, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, I mean, you know, well, we have his phone. And I'm like,
Wait a
wait,
minute.
what?
Why wouldn't that be the first thing you mentioned?
Thank you.
Now, maybe I'm just looking too deep into it, right? But why wouldn't that be the first thing you mentioned? Oh, by the way, if you've been trying to call him, don't worry, you know, like, don't call him. We got his phone, but we're going to look for him. The fact that the mama got to bring up the phone first, or she got to inquire about the phone first before you say, oh, by the way, ma'am, just so you know, we got the phone. I don't know. That's just...
We have his phone. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, okay. Because at that point, you're telling me, this is coming from Warren, don't worry about it. We're going to find him. It's going to be okay.
And by the way, she did not respond back to him saying, Nolan's mom, reminds me of my own mother, bruh. She don't play about me. Nolan mama was not playing about him, bruh. She would even say, and you're about to hear, she got really offended. Like, hold on, what? What do you mean, don't worry about my son? Y'all telling me y'all got my son's phone, y'all came back home without him, and you telling me not to worry?
Yeah,
so that was already strike one for her when it comes to Warren. Strike two from her perspective was when Warren told her the wrong color of swim trunks that Nolan was wearing. Now, Warren claimed that he was with Nolan all day. So you would know the color of swim trunks. Now, maybe they were drinking, he was drunk, so maybe that's an excuse. But that was strike two from a mom's perspective. I'm looking for my son. You're giving me information to tell me this is how I can look for my son, or this is going to help me find my son. And then I verify the information you're giving me, and the information is false. So she was pissed off.
Okay, don't tell me not to worry. This is my child, my flesh and blood that I brought into this world. And you're telling me not to worry. Absolutely not. So then it was after the phone call ended, of course, asking him for information. What was he wearing? He was like, last seen, Northwest tip, black shorts, sunglasses. That's important. So I end up calling DMR, spoke with the DMR. She took all
Just
the...
for our audience, DMR.
So DMR is because he went missing on the island. They are...
But you're about to find out, outside of like warning them not being that helpful, bruh, law enforcement officials were not that helpful. Law enforcement officials were actually worse. Now, I've seen a couple of pictures of Nolan on the island. I didn't see Nolan with sunglasses on. Like, out of all the pictures that I saw, I didn't see Nolan with no sunglasses on. Maybe he had some in, and I don't know, he just ain't take a picture in it. But Nolan had on light blue swim trunks, light blue. You cannot mistake light blue with black. I'm sorry, bruh. Like I understand we want to be charitable here, right? We want to be charitable with, I guess, like our particular, like assumptions. But you cannot confuse, under no circumstances can you confuse light blue swim trunks with black. Again, that was the second. That's like the third red flag for her. The third red flag. That like what? She told him, well, he told her the wrong swimsuit. Now, beyond Warren, here's where you're about to see why people say, yo, Mississippi is a piece of work and we don't trust Mississippi. So we don't trust the Ocean Springs investigators at all. Here's where you're about to see it. So the mama gets a calling for help in regards to her son, and they start giving her the runaround. Like the absolute runaround.
Oh,
He
really?
went missing on the island. They are basically the Marine people, right? They're the ones who's going to launch the boats to go into the water and all that. But before getting off the phone with Warren, he was like, hey, I know some people at Coast Guard. I said, okay. He's like, I'm going to call Coast Guard, you call DMR. Get on the phone with DMR. I give the young lady the information. And she tells me, hey, you know, I got this. Let me call you back. Because she was like, I'm not sure if this is going to be in our jurisdiction, essentially.
What?
So then she calls back and she tells me, okay, yeah, you know, we spoke with Coast Guard. And I'm like, okay, but they're like, this isn't our jurisdiction. You have to contact the city of Ocean Springs. I said, okay, hang up the phone, call in Ocean Springs Police Department. They say, hey, you have to physically come down and give a report. I said, okay. So on our way, because we don't live that far from the police station, on our way there, I was like, well, let me stop by the hospital, because there's a hospital that's maybe 5 minutes up the road from our house. Stop by there. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen this kid? Has he been brought in? The lady's like, no, ma'am, you know, we hadn't. I said, okay, thank you. Run out. We go to the police department. Get to the police station, and the officer basically says, again, this is out of our jurisdiction. And at that point, I'm like, my God, who am I supposed to talk to? Who is supposed to help me with this? So then he said, it's going to be, you would have to call DMR. I was like, we've already called DMR. DMR said it's not in their jurisdiction. So,
Now, riddle me this. Do you think that those are the people that you would trust to lead this investigation?
Big facts, yeah.
Riddle me this, okay? Now, people say that Nolan Wall's mama was race hustling Tatum, right? Tatum, listen up, Tatum. You said the mama was race hustling. The mama had no reason to bring in Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton or independent investigators. They have no reason. Riddle me this, Tatum. If from day one, they were this incompetent, they were this like unorganized, discombobulated, if they gave you the runaround on day one when trying to locate your son, they couldn't even communicate properly to
With
figure
each other,
out whose
yeah.
job it was,
That's
right,
crazy.
to help them look for Nolan. They couldn't even communicate
wild.
regarding whose job it was to find Nolan when he was missing. And those very same people who already proved to you they are inadequate, who already proved to you they're incompetent, those very same people, the hour you located your son's body, those people tell you there was no foul play. Would you take their word for it, or would you bring in help? Or would you bring in help? Come on, bruh. Come on, man. Yo, how can anybody hear this and say, yo, the mama is wrong for bringing in Benjamin Crump? And I'm so glad she's telling her story, and I'm so glad she's telling like her testament, bruh. Because they've been trying to make this woman look so crazy for weeks. And she's been taking the high road. Now she's finally telling the real, bruh. These people botched this investigation from day one, straight up. They botched it from day one. They couldn't even get it straight on whose job it was to go help her look for her son. Her son died, and first thing they say is there's no foul play. Man, F out of here, bruh. Now, even the father, yo, Elmore, who is as quiet can be, even Elmore has a direct issue with how Nolan Wall's friends communicated information to him. And he breaks it down too.
jurisdiction. So we end up, I think at some point I had called Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. So she calls back and she's like, hey, are you there? I said, yes, we're here, but he's telling us the same thing you guys told us, which is no, we can't take it. She gets on the phone with a police officer. Now this is Jackson County Sheriff's Department speaking with the Ocean Springs Police Department. Ocean Springs Police Department is saying, this is why we can't take this information. She says, okay. He gives me the phone back, and she's like, okay, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the information. And that was, we met an officer. It was after midnight. Right? Yeah, it was somewhere after midnight. Met him in the McDonald's parking lot, gave him the information. He was just like, okay, thanks. I was like, like, where is the urgency? And so, as far as we know, there were no boats on the water that night. We actually, his high school football coach, Coach Bramlett, texted Elmore that morning. He said, hey man, I got a boat. Because again, we don't have boats. Let me make that very clear. We do not have a boat. We're not boating people. We don't do water like that, okay? So Coach Bramlett's like, hey, I got a boat. So we was like, great, let's go.
Before we hear from Elmore, because Elmore has a lot to say, but the mama said something very important. There was no boats that night to go look for Nolan. So even if we left Nolan back on the island, then shouldn't the friends got like 4 different boats? Shouldn't the friends with 4 different boats hop back out there to go look for Nolan?
Yep.
To go back to the island to go? No. It was the following morning that the coach gave Elmore a call and said, hey, we can go look for Nolan. I got a boat. The friends got 4-5 boats. All right. The friends are expert boat people. They ain't hop on a boat that night to go back to the island and look for Nolan. If they were so concerned, why they ain't hop on a boat to go look for Nolan?
Bingo.
The Coast Guards got called, but nobody went looking for Nolan that night.
Bingo.
Bro, I'm so glad she's telling her side of the story, man, because these people make, oh my.
Great, let's go. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with my grandmother, who was in a panic, as we're walking this island looking for anything.
That's another lie they told. The lie they told was, yo, man, the island had no cell service, which is why like Nolan wasn't taking any pictures. Nolan wasn't, like communicating with anybody on Snap. He wasn't using Snap because the island had no cell service whatsoever, even though they admitted they were able to call CETA. But nonetheless, right? The parents go to the island. Again, this is like the 5th red flag already, bro. We stopped counting. The parents go to the island and they say, bro, what? Bro, we got perfect service out here. What do you mean there's no service? Now put yourself in the shoes of a parent. They told you the wrong swim trunks your boy was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell you they had his phone until you inquired. They didn't put boats on the ground to go look for their best friend. They told you there was no cell service, but yet there was cell service. How many more inconsistency would you have to hear as a parent before you say, yeah, I can't trust these people and I got to go seek answers myself? Huh?
Island looking for anything.
I just want to pause there. The cell phone worked fine because in the reporting, there's been so much reporting that there's poor cell phone reception. And this is some of the disputes that we have about that night. Dad, feel free to jump in here because they're saying he met this young lady, Katie, and that he stayed back. According to the reporting, Katie is saying no. He said he was going to go with his friends. According to the reporting, the friends say, no, he left us his phone because there was no reception. Dad, have you found any consistencies? Have you spoken directly with any of his friends?
Well, the first inconsistency was you called me and tell me my son stayed on the island to talk to a girl. My son would never do that. That's not in his character. I didn't raise none of my kids to do that. The second thing is, you say he doesn't have his phone. He doesn't leave his phone. I will wake up sometimes in the morning and Nolan will have his phone here right in my face. And I'm waking up cussing and fussing like, boy, you don't get the camera on my face. And he just laughing and giggling and stuff like that. So that's twice. To me, that's 2 lies that he told me.
Now, the third lie would be regarding, I think, Nolan Key. So Elmore confirms that it was Jack's who house they was at. So Elmore went to Jack's house. Apparently when he got to Jack's house, Nolan black friends or his other friends were, I don't know the color, they were apparently at the house really upset, like beating on the door trying to figure out what happened to Nolan and what they know. And apparently when he gets there, now y'all probably heard the story before, but he tells it from his own mouth again. When he gets to the house, Jax comes downstairs, like a discombobulated, don't know where nothing is. And, the key's not here. Hey, I can't find the keys. And it took another person. Again, this is a trend here. They tell them, yo, the swim trunks is black. Another person tell him no, the swim trunks was light blue. They tell him, hey, like Nolan Wells, like car keys ain't here. Then somebody else says no, they're on like this person's Xbox. So this was where I feel like the mom at this point was already done with the friends, but this is where Elmore, this was like his wake up call in regards to the friends, and where he says, "All right, bro, like, bro, I can't trust a word these folks tell me, right?" And again, he'll be correct
and stuff like that. So that's twice. To me, that's 2 lies you told me as a father. Like I said, we went on the island. And actually, a classmate of mine called me that morning as we were going out to the island with Nolan's coach. He's like 40 miles away. He calls me, hey man, I got the boat. Me and my boys, we're gonna go out there and help you look. I didn't call him, he called me. And we're gonna start on this end. Well, I said, well, we're probably gonna start on the other end. So me, my wife, Coach Bramley, and a high school classmate of mine were the only, we were the first ones out there looking. Like I said, we docked the boat, got out the boat, walked on the island. She had a whole conversation with her grandmother on the island.
We're all out searching for him that night. And yeah, like Elmore was saying, there was an issue, some type of friction. The cops ended up coming and they left. And so then kind of the same thing when we came to pick up the key, Elmore went up there asking for the key, didn't know where the key was, and all of a sudden we know where the key is.
But see, hold on. But see, this is another thing that bothered me too. When we got to the house, it was some of his other friends were there, and they were, beating on the door like, "What Nolan there? What Nolan there?" Beating on the door trying to get in the house. So I walk up to the door and I'm calming them down because for one, okay, you're loud. 2, you're in these people's house. So if you tear these people's house up, that's gonna be a whole nother issue. I don't want y'all bothering that. And 3, I need you guys to calm down, and I need them to kind of trust me as being an adult so I can get something out of them. So I get them out the house, and then Jax finally comes down the stairs, I guess in the room, hair all messed up like he just woke up, whatever. I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. His car's outside. I need to get his car and all his personal effects that may be left over here. And he goes, oh man, Nolan was like my brother. I said, well, Nolan was like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go and get everything of his so I can get his car, I can go home. So he walks off. 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back. I don't see the keys. Okay. So I leave out the house, go back outside, stand by the car. During that time, one of the guys that was in the house, one of the other friends, he was on the phone with a girl who was apparently there with them earlier that day. And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the Xbox in his room. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and we're still out by the car. And lo and behold, here comes the keys. So now to me, you lied to me 3 times. I don't believe nothing that you tell me from here on out.
And this is Jax.
This is Jax.
And eventually he
And to me, that's fit. Yo, to me, I feel like anybody who's not a sociopath would hear what the father have to say and say, okay, yeah, that's fair. like that. Like that's, I can see how you could be suspicious of me. That's fair. But they were dragged to these interviews, right, with sorrowful faces and pretend like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bruh. And pretend like the parents are picking on them or the parents are doing something foul to them by asking questions. But now you see why the parents don't want to discuss anything with them further. Tell them say time after time, why won't the parents just talk to the kid? They tried. In each and every turn they talked to them, it was always something that left them with a bad taste in their mouth. So they said, we done. I'm good. Every time I talk to him, it's something. I'm straight. I'm good, bro. I'm straight, bro. I'm good. Man, but y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you?
Let me know what you think in the comments down below, man. This whole entire case has just been. Hey, as much as people say that we were like not fear mongering, but basically just like trying to eat off of this and everything else, blah 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 blah. We all knew that once certain time comes, literally, it everything's gonna come out. And once everything comes out, we will have our final verdict, and hopefully they get justice. They get justice. And the people who said we was liars, we didn't know what we was talking about, everything blah 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 blah. Come on now. Come on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll catch you on the next one, man. Shout out to the Facebook people, shout out to the YouTube people, you know what I mean? Shout out to the IG people. Yeah, let's keep doing this.